What is the role of religion in our ever-changing world? From the NewsChannel 5 network, this is Issues of Faith.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Issues of Faith. Glad you are with us. Today, a conversation with Father Joseph Breen. He is, of course, a priest here, a retired priest. He was a priest for 58 years here in Nashville. He has several thoughts, always interesting to hear from him. We're going to talk about immigration and some thoughts he has for the Catholic Church and the bishop here. Father Breen, thank you for being here.
It's a real pleasure. Always has been.
I've always liked having you on. Let's talk about immigration. Immigration is in the news. We're seeing it discussed an awful lot, and it's one of the most divisive issues when we do these shows here on NewsChannel 5 Plus that comes up. What is the appropriate religious response to what we're seeing with immigration right now in our country, do you think?
I really think that we have to combine mercy and good judgment and justice. I think the countries have a right to close their borders and have limited immigration or immigrants. But they should do it, especially if they're among the more wealthy countries. They should have more of a generous response to helping these people who come from countries that are just so poor. They come here to get their children an education, to find a job, and to perhaps share in a better life. And countries that are where the wealthy, prosperous, are doing well, hopefully they have a generous spirit. And I think in the past, we can be proud of what the United States have done, the government. A few things that have happened that are very unfortunate. Separation of the children from their parents, that was terrible. I mean, mean and immoral. The other thing that we cannot be proud of is going around to the homes where people have been here 10, 15 years, they've had jobs, they have paid taxes, they're really outstanding citizens. And for them to be picked up without any hearing, sent back, and many times they did that with the father, the husband, and left the children and family back here. I remember so very well when I was at St. Everett's and knew some of those children who were so scared that when they left home that morning to go to school, they wouldn't see their father when they went home. Tremendous fear and pain in the lives of those young people. That was wrong. But there's the right, countries do have the right, especially those who are limited in resources, to set limits on immigrants and so forth.
So it sounds like you're concerned by what you've seen here recently in the United States.
Yes.
And what do you think the appropriate response for churches should be?
Well, I think it should be with more mercy, greater financial, material assistance, finding them jobs. I think that that's one of the areas we Catholics can be very, very proud of. In all the principal cities we have, along with a bishop and an office of that nature, every one of them have the Catholic charities. They handle immigrants and they handle refugees. And the refugees are those who come from very poor countries like Guatemala, Ecuador, that are real poor. Not only that, they're subject to killings, little or no educational opportunities, very small chance to get a job. They're the ones that we need to relate to.
But so often now I feel like people, they're not relating. I do a show, Open Line, and this is one of the most divisive issues. And the thing that people say is, if people aren't here legally, then they should be removed. And if they cross illegally, then they should be subject to deportation in our laws. I mean, we hear that over and over. What would you say when people say that?
That's pretty valid, but we have taken away several important programs where when they come, they used to be able to relate to a program that will allow them to stay here. There were 2 or 3 very special programs, and that those programs have been done away with, and it was working quite well. We still, unfortunately, we haven't dealt with our DECA problem. The children who have been here many years and their parents never did get citizenship, and there's still talk about sending them back. And that would be, to me, a tragedy. It seemed like the Republicans, Democrats, Christians, everybody should speak up for those that are young and those who have not violated any laws or anything.
And you experienced that when you were a priest and where you worked. And I guess, are we at a point, are you concerned about the conversation, the dialogue, the discourse in our country at this point, especially on this issue? Are we dehumanizing people? Are we able to even talk about this, do you think, in ways that are productive? What do you think about the discourse right now?
We do too much dehumanizing. We got to keep in mind as Christians, Mary and Joseph had to leave in order to find safety, opportunity to live free from fear. Their flight into Egypt. We also are aware of the fact that I really admire not only what we're doing as Catholics, our bishops, but I've always had great admiration for our Jewish brethren. They always seem to be very involved in social justice, also in just and good immigration. I'm proud to know several of the rabbis and others. And also, they follow those words, I believe it's in Ezekiel. Remember, you too were once strangers in a foreign land. That's what motivates them, and that's what enables them to really stand up for what is right, to make their Jewish tradition something that they can be proud of. I think our bishops, the Catholic Church, has been also quite strong. As I said earlier, in every principal city there is an office of Catholic Charity that deals with immigrants and deal with refugees. The difference is the immigrant chooses to come here or there, travel one country to another. Refugees are those that are victim of pain, suffering, hardship, war, drugs, and whatever. And in our local diocese, just in the refugee program, we have something in the last 10 years 4,344 refugees have come through that department here just in Nashville. And they come from 24 different countries. And that in the local program here in Nashville, and they're right here in Nashville, it's several places throughout the town. 34 employees work with that. And there's some 15 programs. One of them finding a job, another one helping kids after school, what to do with them. 15 different programs. We can be proud of that, very proud.
Are you optimistic about, and this will be my last question on this issue, are you optimistic about where we're headed here? I mean, do you think, obviously you're concerned about where we are right now. Where do you think we're going to be on immigration in the future? I mean, are you concerned about where we're headed?
A lot depends on who gets out and vote. It is that important. And hopefully the people will study the issues very, very well. And when they go to the polls, use good judgment for the betterment of America. And I think most of the politicians would like to vote for the DACA program, young kids being civilized here in the United States. I think that's going to make a big difference whom we vote for.
All right. All right, so you've served as a priest for 58 years. You're 84 years old. So you've earned your right to say what's on your mind. You've recently,
within limits.
Within limits, okay. So you've recently sent letters to the bishop with some thoughts about the Catholic Church. And I guess, all right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about your thoughts there, what you would like, I guess, reforms you would like to see. So we'll take a break, come back, talk about that. Be back right after this.
I stay